All right. Welcome everybody to another episode of the All Systems Go podcast, where we invite startup founders and digital marketers to discuss strategies and softwares to build automated marketing and sales systems that scale. I'm your host, Chris L. Davis, the founder here at Automation Bridge. And today I have Precious Rodgers as a guest, and she is a Pinterest marketing expert and ad specialist. I did say Pinterest, everyone. I know you probably saw the title of this podcast, but yes, she is a Pinterest marketing expert. She's the CEO of the Pinning Oasis. It's a boutique Pinterest marketing agency that helps e-commerce shop owners, online coaches, service providers, and content creators to pimp Pinterest to drive more people and profit to their business with and without Pinterest ads. All right. So she's not giving out high energy when she's not, I should say, giving out high energy and good laughs or sunshine vibes. You can find her sipping her favorite drink of the day, dancing around for fun, or watching her latest Netflix binge. Precious, welcome to the podcast to help us understand how how do we leverage Pinterest for a profit. How you doing,
Yes,
Precious?
yes. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Great, great, great. So before we jump into it, let's get it. Let's just put it on the table. Pinterest is the underdog, and
It
I'm
is.
gonna play the devil's advocate to everything that you say, and I'm gonna start it off by saying Pinterest can't work. It can't work for me,
Oh
Precious.
my God. That's
So,
you started off really strong.
right. So before we jump into it, give us a little bit about your background and how did you find yourself as a Pinterest specialist? Did you always kind of like have this notion that you would like to get into marketing and advertising? Is it something that you stumbled upon? What did your journey look like?
Oh my God. I definitely stumbled upon it. Like, this is not where, that's why I hate those questions. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? Because every time I feel like it's never where I see myself. Like, so now I just like, I will see where I get there. Cause I
Hmm.
actually went to school for IT. I have a bachelor's and a master's in information technology.
Mm.
My dream job was to work for Google and be an app
Wow.
developer.
Wow.
And things just change. I actually lived abroad for 3 years in South Korea as an English teacher. And when I
Mhm.
moved back in 2018, I was still thinking I wanted to work for Google. And that really quickly changed because I also wanted to still travel more. And I didn't
Mm.
want to be tied down. The whole idea of like a 9 to 5 with 2 weeks vacation just didn't seem right to me anymore. And I heard about being a virtual assistant. And I was like, well, I can be a VA, I can travel, I can do admin stuff. And that's kind of how I got started. But I quickly realized I do not like admin things.
Mhm.
But my very first client, she was an Instagram influencer and also had an online business. And so she knew that Pinterest was her second traffic driver to her blog. And she was like, I really want to kind of hone in on this. Can you help me? I'm a VA, so I say yes to everything. And it really is what catapulted my entire career. I realized that I really enjoyed what I was learning about Pinterest. I love that it was the underdog because I'm always rooting for the underdog.
Mhm.
And once I was able to see that this is a platform that can be used in a way that people do not see it as, because we're so used to what we thought we know about Pinterest, but things have completely changed in 2022 and beyond as
Mm.
to how you use these different platforms. Just like, there's people who believe Instagram is still this place where you put your photos and like your life things that happen in your life, but there's a whole other side of it that we know of where it's all about marketing in your business. So people don't see that side if you don't use it. And so I feel like that's the same way for Pinterest.
Yeah, and I love the angle here because as much of a devil's advocate as I'm gonna attempt to play, you always it's there's this blue ocean effect to it, right? Why
Mhm.
everybody's looking at YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. You've got this platform that's showing promise, and hopefully today, the listeners can see that promise and actually take advantage of it. So let's start. I don't know if I want to say from the top from the bottom because I am not a Pinterest person. I've used it a couple times, which is why I was so excited for you to get on this call. But if you were to summarize the opportunity of Pinterest, what would you say? Because I know natively for me, I've gone there strictly for visual, right? There's something I want to look at. I know you can do pins and boards and all of this stuff. That gets overwhelming. But just before we recorded this podcast, my daughter asked me, because I have all of their devices on lock. Dad, can I have some time on Pinterest to go look up nail designs? So it was just like, wait a minute, is this just Pinterest day? I don't hear Pinterest any other time, but today you want to look at Pinterest. Today I'm recording a podcast on Pinterest. So start from the bottom. That's what I'll say. Start from the bottom. Somebody who's not familiar with it, they're like, oh, I didn't even know that was a platform. How would you explain the platform and the opportunity it provides for entrepreneurs and small business owners?
Yeah, so kind of just going back to what you just said about your daughter, like she's going there for inspiration. Like
Mm,
Pinterest is a tool to help you find your solution to something and to also inspire you. So a lot of times when we are using Pinterest, we are going there because either we know that we're searching for something, or some people just go there to scroll and they find inspiration from something. But like
mm,
even if you're going to look up nails, that can lead to you getting on someone's like Shopify or Etsy shop or whatever it is, because now buying press on nails is a new thing, and then now you got to purchase from someone who found you on Pinterest. So Pinterest is a really great place for if you're looking to feed the top of your funnel. Um, and I love how you call it like a profit path. So it's top of your profit path.
mhm, yeah.
It's a really good place for that. So people on Pinterest are coming there to look for something. And if you have a solution for them, they can maybe find you there. So it's really good to get new people into your funnels, new people aware of who you are, what you do, your content, your services, your product, whatever it is.
All right. So let's get into some tactics because I can feel it. I can feel the digital marketers. They're out there like, okay, well, how do I use it? What do I do? What would let's keep it basic. I want you to hold my hand through this, Precious. What does that profit pathway look like on Pinterest? Is it click on a image, go to a landing page? Do you take them somewhere else? Like, what is that ideal flow for a platform like Pinterest?
Yeah, it depends on your goal. So if your goal is to build your email list,
Mhm,
then I always recommend that you send someone directly to that landing page. Sometimes you want to send them directly to our website or a blog, which is okay. But people can get distracted. If I want to
mhm,
build my email list, I want to make sure that I'm sending you directly to my landing page that's going to make it an easy yes for you. Even when I have my clients send their people to their landing pages, I'm like, make sure there's no other way, like there's no navigation bars. All you can do on this page is sign up for my email list. Like that's all you can do, or go back to Pinterest. You can't go to my blog. You can't see. I don't even care. Like they like to put like maybe their logo or something like that. You have to understand people from Pinterest do not care who you are. They care about the
mm,
content. They will find out who you are once they get on your email list. So if you're trying to grow your email list, you will send them to your landing page. If you're trying to sell products, you can send them directly to the product, but I also encourage them to have something like a blog or something where they can send people there to get even more information, because Pinners can be in a place where they are planning things as well. So they're still
mm.
learning. They might not be ready to buy. They're going to save the pin to come back to later. So you still want to kind of build that awareness with them.
That's very interesting. I love your point of course, no navigation. People, listen, if you're a digital marketer and you're still allowing a navigation on a landing page, stop it. Okay, that.
They get into the mindset of like, well, if they
I,
don't get this, they can find.
yep,
No, that's not
yep.
what you want.
It's just confusing. So for the CEOs listening, if you have that digital marketer that's building out landing pages with full navigation at the top, I'm I'm not saying get rid of them, but I'm saying that you should question their strategic knowledge around conversions online. How about that?
Mm.
That's a nice
I
way to
like
put it,
that. Like
right?
I really keep it. You can't do anything else on this page but
Yep.
get this information. And I would say also when you are sending people to your landing pages from Pinterest, you have to keep in mind um that you're sending people who do not know you.
Yeah.
So I've had people who come to me and they're like, "Well, these pages work on Instagram," and I'm like, "Well, usually they're probably following you on Instagram. Maybe you are talking about it on your stories or in your caption, so they know more about it. So if you just send them to a page with just like a sign up and a picture of whatever it is, they might not sign up because there's not enough information there for
Hmm.
someone who's cold to you, who does not know you. Whereas on Instagram, they might be warm to you, so it's an easy yes to quickly sign up for something because they don't care what's on the page. They already read something on your caption or something like that. So always keeping that in mind is that the type of traffic that is coming from Pinterest.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. And another thing that you mentioned was the logo, saying that it's not as important because they don't necessarily know you yet. I
Yeah.
think that's a big statement from people who maybe do other forms of advertising or get a little more organic traffic of warm audiences. People love logos. I for whatever reason, I get it, branding, positioning,
Mhm.
all of that stuff. I get it, but there are times, as we're discussing here, where you don't need it. And it's okay. It's okay to send them to the
Right.
page and the focus be the thing that they clicked on. Give them more information about that thing. Give them a reason to say yes, get their email, and then follow up. So, all right,
Mhm.
let's keep going down this. One of my favorite pages of any type of online process, profit pathway, sales funnel, whatever you guys want to call it, is the thank you page. Are you seeing a different usage? Am I, now that I've got traffic coming on Pinterest? So now, okay, I'm getting my bearings. Let me say this, Precious. Let's use this example as we go through it. I've got a current landing page that's working well for organic traffic. I'm not paid advertising yet. Organic
Mhm.
traffic. I post on YouTube, maybe I post on Twitter, and both of them are driving to this page. And I've got that entire pathway built out.
Mhm.
Could I change my source of traffic to Pinterest and expect the same results? Or should my thank you page be a little more optimized for something else? Or would it work either way?
What is on the thank you page? Is it just like a regular like thank you for opting in? I mean, I always suggest for depending on the goal and
Hmm.
depending on what you have in like your services or your like your product suite or whatever it is.
Yep.
I like on my thank you page, I have what I call a tripwire or what many people call a tripwire. So it's like a low ticket offer.
Yep.
Because right then and there, I want to give you an option to purchase something from me. And that way, once you purchase something from me, I know like you are really interested in, Pinterest, not necessarily, but it gives me a little bit more hope as we go down the line, especially whether it's organic or paid, if I'm running paid ads, that's a way for me to get a little bit of my ad spend back because I'm paying for emails. And if
Hmm.
I'm doing organic, it's just a good way to get a good sell. And then if not, I will have something on there that is kind of telling them what they can do next or what they can expect from me next.
Yeah.
So not necessarily, but I like to do that. So because once again, you're still kind of in that introduction phase to them. You're building that know, like, and trust with them right away.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, for me, I'm putting this thing in context. I'm on Pinterest looking for, what would I look for on Pinterest? Maybe some marketing
Car, you can look
flow
for
charts,
everything.
right? I would look at
Homes. We have really I've heard of real estate agents who do really well on Pinterest as well. It's because you gotta think we're
interesting.
in a new time where the way people market things is different. Like, I follow people on Instagram who do like a lot of reels and stuff about the homes that they have. Those can
Okay.
also be used on Pinterest. I know a lot of people go on Pinterest to look for, homes and inspiration and things like that for what they're
Yep.
looking for. So you can definitely use it in that way. And I wanted to quickly add also on your thank you page, I would add thinking about how you nurture your audience. So if
Hmm.
you're someone who is like, well, I have a Facebook group and that's where I nurture people a lot, that would be on your thank you page because you want them to join your Facebook group. Or maybe it's Instagram, so it could be follow me on Instagram. So this is if you don't have like a low ticket product or something, let them know that next step, which is where you best like nurture them at, because that's what you want to
Yeah.
do next in your funnel.
Yeah, and that nurture should be one step closer. They should feel like
Mhm.
they're one step closer to you, your brand, the promise, whatever,
This is
however
when
you're
you
positioning
start,
yourself.
building that understanding of them understanding who you are and knowing you now, because before they got on this page, they didn't care about who you were.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right. So all my digital marketers, you see, funnel is a funnel is a funnel, right? Doesn't matter if it's YouTube. Well, it matters, but for the basic elements are there. What we start to talk about are the mechanics,
Mhm.
right? The mechanics do change. So let me shift gears really quick. Oh, by the way, I love your e-commerce tip though, where you say drive them, you could drive them to the cart, but drive them to a blog page,
Yeah,
or a
people
content page,
yeah,
right?
they kind of forget, we think, "Oh, well, I don't wanna write a blog or anything like that," but you can be very strategic in how you do a blog. So say, for instance, I had a client who sold, vegan soaps. I said, "You can
Mhm.
make a post that say 5 skincare products 5 vegan skincare products, and you can list out your soaps in that post. So that way they're getting information about your different types of soaps that you have, and she had other products as well. And it doesn't have to be other people products, but if you do have someone or you have maybe like an affiliate link or something like that, where it's something that's not competing with yours, you can talk about that as well. Or, 5 ways to practice self-care, and one of them could be talking about using like your products and things like that. So
Yeah.
thinking about a way that you can do it that doesn't take up too much time, but it still allows you to highlight your products in a different way.
Absolutely. And creativity is required always. What I'm hearing, and tell me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to be a devil's advocate, but now you've turned me into I'm transitioning because I can see it now.
Mhm.
So Precious, tell me if I'm wrong. One of the differences from Pinterest and Instagram, having confirmed it, it just feels like it is based on how you're talking, is that each pin could have a different URL. Whereas on
Yes.
Instagram, you got one link tree if you want to have multiple, but it's always link in the bio. Are you telling me on Pinterest, every picture that I have or pin or whatever they're called
Mhm.
could have a URL and go to a different piece of content, different landing page
Yes.
or something like that?
Yeah, so every pin that you post, if it's a static pin or a video pin, because there are different pin types, to
Okay.
not overwhelm everyone, but the static and the video pins, which are the static pins are what most people are very accustomed to. They've been around since the very beginning. All those have their own specific link that you can link to someone specifically. I do recommend it being your website because Pinterest is going to prioritize that because that way they know you're not just sending people to someplace that's not safe or spammy or things
Mhm,
like that.
mhm. Interesting. So there's video on Pinterest. Listen,
There's
anybody
video
who's
pins, and there's
listen,
also idea pins, which is
don't judge
there's
me.
there's so much there. Like when you were saying you used Pinterest like 5 years ago, I was just thinking, "Oh my god, Pinterest has
It's
changed
changed so
so
much,
much
right?
since then."
Okay, so we gotta shift gears. We gotta shift gears because somebody else is feeling bad too that they didn't know video was on was on picture. Should have assumed though, right? Let's talk about the creator, the marketer. What type of content should I be creating? Am I creating memes? Am I creating stock imagery? Is it all based on my strategy? What are you seeing that's highly effective on Pinterest in terms of imagery and video or whatnot media?
Yeah, when it comes to your actual pin images, it should relate to your content, and you should think about what would get people to click. So
Okay.
if I have something for myself, it's like if I just say like Pinterest marketing tip, that's not convincing enough to make someone actually want to click and go to,
Mm,
whether it's my blog post or my landing page. I want to be more like, 5 ways to improve your Pinterest marketing strategy overnight or something like that. That would get them to be like, oh, well, let me click and see what they're talking about. So it's really important to think about that when you are building out your pin image strategy. And then as far as like there's the idea pin side of things that I was talking about, and that is where you can use a lot of like your short form video content. But you want to make sure it's valuable to people on Pinterest. So is it going to bring them value? Is it going to inspire them? Is it going to help them with a solution? Like if it's just you dancing and pointing and talking about your breakfast, that's not really something that's going to be something that someone is looking for on Pinterest. Whereas,
mhm.
maybe that's on your Instagram story. They care about that because now they're following you, they care more about you. But on Pinterest, like I said, it's really about the content, the value that you're bringing. So that's what you want to think about when you are building out your pin images.
Yeah, and I think that what you're really talking about is the difference of intent, right? A lot of times people go to Facebook, TikTok, Instagram for some form of entertainment, some form of, hey, what's going on in the world, or
Mhm.
whatever that the case may be. Some people even go to Instagram to learn. I have learned that people go and they don't go to Google. I would go to Google, but they'll go on Instagram, search stuff. So I get it. But Pinterest does not have that entertainment factor per se, to the point where if I'm on Pinterest, I'm looking for something.
Right.
You can trust that I'm here with intent. I can't
Mhm.
always trust your intent on Instagram, on Facebook,
Right.
on TikTok. Like I don't. I hope it's to find something that I have a video to answer, but with Pinterest, you can trust that the intent is I logged into here to go find something.
Right,
So
you're there to discover something. Like I said, even if I'm going there just to scroll, the thing is when you log into Pinterest, your home feed or your smart feed is curated to your last few searches. So if I've been searching for recipes, like chocolate cake recipes, when I log back in, I'm going to still see a lot of chocolate cake recipes. I'm going to
okay,
see it mixed in with whatever other things I've been searching for. So like my feed is curated to what I've been searching for. So even if I'm just scrolling, I'm probably going to be inspired by something that I
yeah.
wasn't exactly maybe looking for. Same thing for like marketing. If I've been looking for marketing tips, I might be scrolling and now I see something about like how to, grow my TikTok following or my Pinterest following. And maybe I didn't know I was looking for that, but now I'm inspired to click on it and learn like, oh yeah, I can use some tips for, Pinterest or TikTok or whatever it is. So yeah, the intent is definitely different.
Okay, so now that I know that I was going to say TikTok, Pinterest is going to curate my personal feed based on what I've searched for. As a creator, as a marketer who wants to use this platform now to get more visibility, am I looking? How do I need to be optimizing my text under my pins if for keywords, or how does that go? How does Pinterest know that, hey, this person searched this, you do this, let me put this in their feed next time they come back and search for
Yes, I was waiting for us to get here.
it?
Keywords are a major key when it comes to
Mhm,
Pinterest. Remember that it is a search engine, so when you are pinning your content to Pinterest, the only way that it can be optimized and indexed is by you using the correct keywords that people are searching for.
mm,
So if you haven't keyworded your content correctly, then I can't find it because it's not keyworded. The only caveat to that is if you are in a field that the picture can be optimized. So like Pinterest can read everything on your pin. So if I was to have like a chocolate cake, maybe I want chocolate cake. This is the second time I mentioned chocolate cake. If I have a chocolate cake on the pin image, Pinterest can read that and they can optimize it with cake or something like that. So if it's something like that, they can maybe pick up on what you're trying to talk about on this pin. But
mm.
if it's like for me, marketing, there's really no pictures that really describe marketing. Usually I'll use like desk overlays or like keyboards or something like that. But really it's my text that's going to get Pinterest's attention to make sure they are indexing it correctly.
Okay. And I know one of the strategies on Facebook, I don't know if this is still applicable, but there was a time where they were instructing, actually I do think this is still applicable. They were saying you want your pictures to look like they're a picture from the viewer's friend list, instead of like these perfect stock images. They even ran tests where they found that a video shot on your cell phone were more highly viewed than the perfect, well put together ones. Do
I can
you
see that.
see? Do you see? But on Pinterest, do you see that? Is there a case to be made where maybe you want to go stock imagery or more professional on Pinterest, or is it more natural in the flow that people like to see there?
So I would say the difference is that you don't want to include too much, like they say don't include too many like faces and things like that because once
Oh,
again people don't know you, they don't care about you. So like on Facebook if I'm scrolling and I see somebody who looks familiar,
yep.
oh, it's like a friend or something like that.
Mm,
Whereas on Pinterest, once again, I'm not there for this. I don't care about like on the static
mm,
images, it's like put more so either like it could be like a person where you're kind of cutting off their face or something like that because it's really about what the text is going to say, what the content is going to say. I would say the caveat is like if you're showing off like, clothing or something more in like its natural like habitat or something like that would be what I would say. Like if you have a candle, show the candle like on like a bookshelf or on a end table, like where I can see it myself. So that way I'll be more interested in the click than just like a candle by itself.
I got it. It makes sense. And then for the process of measuring the performance of my page, do I get metrics? Does Pinterest give me metrics, impressions and clicks by pin? And is it just kind of like a black box and I have to cross my fingers and hope everything is working? What kind of insight does this platform give me?
No, it's gonna give you all the information on the back end, so you'll be able to see like your impressions, your outbound clicks, your pin clicks, click through rates, engagement rates. There's a lot of stuff in the back end that you can look at to kind of see people who are saving it to their boards and
Mm,
things like that. So you'll get a lot of information so that you can take that information and determine like the type of content that people are really interacting with on Pinterest.
yeah.
So if you're seeing, like for me, I noticed that my posts about any strategy type of content that gets more clicks than anything else because people are always looking for strategy tips. So that
Mm,
encourages me to create more content around strategy so that I can send people that to those blog posts, or if I have like a freebie or something like that, I can send people there as well. So it's really gives you that ability to look at what is and isn't working.
yeah, that's a good one. I would imagine if you were on the back end and you saw that a particular pin had been added to someone's board more than the rest, you can probably glean from that that that's content that's
Mhm.
really resonating. And the beautiful thing about all these platforms, Precious, is that usually an indicator on one can be leveraged on another,
Yeah,
right?
sometimes it definitely can be. You can kind of like, and I always tell people this when I am like I say, I call it Pinterest worthy content. So
Hmm.
I always say when I'm sitting down to plan out my content, I'm making sure that the content that I'm creating, one, I can share. I can create a pin for it to drive traffic to from Pinterest, but I want to make it easy for myself. Is this something that I can make I make a lot of video content. So if that video gonna be something that people could be searching for YouTube, is it going to be something I could pull content from for Reels and TikToks? Like I want to make it easier for myself when I'm creating content so that I
Hmm.
know that I can use it across multiple platforms in a way that works for each of the platforms because there is strategy behind every platform and what works for one might not work for all of them, but yeah, they definitely are can work together.
Yeah. So um let me rewind and just clarify because I realize we've thrown out some terms and people may not be familiar with it. We've got pins, static pins, boards, and I can't remember. Just go through
I'll
the
go through
various
something.
types.
So
of,
pin images are
okay.
what you would normally see on Pinterest when you log in. These are what you will design or create to pin your content.
Hmm.
So they're called pin images, and then there are different types of pin images. So they are static pins, which are just a image, a static image. Video pins, they have some kind of moving feature to them. They could be an actual. They're just an MP4, so they can have something that's just like an arrow pointing, or it can be an actual
Mm,
video. And then there can also be carousel pins. So there are multiple pins on one pin. So like a carousel post on Instagram, but you can link to different places for each of the pins. So which is really cool. And then idea pins. This is the only one that does not link to someplace specifically. Like you cannot add a
mm,
link to it because the purpose of them is to inspire and give value on the platform. The only caveat is if you are a product seller and you're verified, you can link your products, or if you have affiliate, you can link your affiliates.
okay, I got it. Now, how would I know what an idea pin is with respect to a regular one?
Right now, if you go on Pinterest, that you're going to see a lot of them
Okay.
because there it is the newest feature. They were released not too long. Well, they were released last year,
Yep.
and so they pushed them a lot more, just like any new feature on any platform. But idea pins, you will usually see like at the top on the right hand side, I believe it is, like a
Hmm.
little box that will give a number, and the number is how many slides or pages is on that idea pin. So they can be up to 20 pages. And so you might see like one or you might see eight, which means there's eight different slides that you can go through. So people can be able to maybe give a lot of they can do a video, maybe like slice it up so that it's not just one long video, or you
Yeah,
can do video and static images. So it's good
I
to like
got it.
tell a story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it'd be comparable to, like reels or shorts, I think YouTube calls them, but it's content that you consume on the platform and doesn't take you anywhere else to
Yes.
make the platform more sticky. And of course, we should know that platforms love when you have content that keep people on the platform, and they'll probably start to index your other pins and everything else when someone starts searching. So,
Yeah, so it's
um,
a good balance for them because they're
mhm,
like, we're giving people, information while they're on the platform, so that helps, of course, with their side of their business, but then they're all also keeping, like, their static pins and the video pins that link to wherever you want them to go.
yep,
So it's a good mix for Pinterest, and it's a good mix for you as well because everything is, people when it first came out, they were like, "Well, I don't wanna do this because, we can't link to anywhere because that's what we're so used to is linking to wherever we want to go." But it's like there's still a way to build your funnel out by introducing people to you from a video or a short form video, short form content, and things like that, and then encouraging them to follow you after they watch it or something like that. So there's still ways to make it work.
yeah. All right. So I feel like I have a decent understanding of this platform, the opportunity. Given I'm a marketer, there's some strategies over here that I know I can use on Pinterest as well. For the listener who is inspired, perhaps this was the podcast that they've been waiting on. It's just like, oh,
Hopefully.
finally Pinterest. So, what would you give them as like their starter steps with getting acclimated with Pinterest to start to see some results? We're not trying to get rich overnight. We're not trying to build a million followers or so if there's followers on Pinterest. But
There are. There are.
what
Definitely.
are the steps they can take now and keep doing to truly start to have a presence on the platform? What would you recommend them get started with?
So I'm glad you mentioned the overnight because Pinterest is a platform that is going, we call it like it's a slow burn. It is
Mm,
a search engine. This is not something that's going to work overnight. Everything when it comes to marketing will not work overnight. And this
mhm,
is something that's going to help sustain your business because people can find your content on Pinterest for years to come because it is a search engine. So it's not going anywhere unless you delete it off your website or something. So
mhm,
always keep that in mind is that it's going to take a lot more time than, you posting a image on another platform. But to start, I would suggest that you go research your audience on Pinterest, see what other people in your industry are posting on Pinterest, see if your content actually aligns there and it makes sense. And then you want to start doing your keyword research because that is like one of the biggest parts of it. And then you want to start thinking through how your Pinterest marketing funnel can look. So it's usually someone clicks on a pin, they go to maybe your landing page, your blog post, your products, and then you need to know what's going to happen after they do that step. So how are you going to nurture them? How are you going to keep them aware of who you are so that you can actually turn pinners to profit?
mm. Yeah, it sounds like for me, listening to what you're saying, one of the things that I would do is set aside some time, and I wouldn't try to do it all in one day.
No.
Maybe it's 30 minutes a day or so. And I'll be looking for people in my industry and some out. How are they using it? What kind of images are they creating? When I click, what happens?
Hmm.
Right? What page do they go to? Okay, this is an interesting page. When I opt in, what happens? Right? We
A
don't
lot of
know
reverse
how it's working.
engineering.
Yeah, you don't know how it's working in their business. It's all a facade for all we know, right? Everything looks good when you're window shopping. But you can at least get a feel for the platform, right? You're not necessarily looking for this will work. This does work. We
Hmm.
can't label it as good or bad, but
Right.
we can assess that, okay, this is how they're using it, and then start to put some stuff out and
Right,
see how
because
it
kinda
works for
like
you,
how
right?
you mentioned in the beginning, you was like, "Pinterest won't work for me." I actually get that a lot, and I'm like,
Mm,
"Have you actually gone on Pinterest and see what other people in your industry are doing and to see
yeah.
if it's working for them?" Because people love to say that. I mean, they say that about all platforms. I'm like, "We are not all here." It's working for somebody. At least one person is working for somebody. So, I know people it's definitely working for Pinterest. Like, I found one of my coaches via Pinterest, and funny. I mean, she's a Pinterest, one of my Pinterest mentors. But like, even me realizing when I was in her funnel, I didn't know that at that point in time because I didn't know much
Mm,
about funnels. But looking back, I see how it worked. And when you're able to see that, you can see how other people can use it, because it definitely can work for a lot more industries than people give it credit for. It's
yeah.
understanding how you can make it work for you.
Yeah, and I think it's worth a try. Again, you never know. Some people their thing is YouTube, some Facebook, some Pinterest, some Twitter, whatever the case is. I hope you heard something today that you can put in practice, or have someone in your team put in practice. Can we say for at least the next 30 to 90 days, Precious, right? And then
Yes,
give it some time to
if
mature.
you're gonna start marketing your business on Pinterest, you wanna give it 3 to 6 months.
Yeah,
Because of the fact that it is a search engine, it's not going to work overnight. Pinterest has to index like your content. They have to see that you're being consistent.
yeah.
So they know the type of content you're putting out there. Just take it a day at a time at the same time. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try to do too much too soon. Just one day at a time. Even if it's like one new pin a day to your content, that's better than nothing. Do not send it to the same URL every single day, though. If you only have one
Mm,
piece of content, Pinterest might not be for you.
mm,
Organically, if you're running ads,
mhm.
that's differently, but you want to send it to different pieces of content, because that way it doesn't look spammy. If you're just sending it to like the same, I don't know, landing page for the free offer every single day, Pinterest is going to be like, you're not using it incorrectly.
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, well, great. So I would imagine, Precious, you didn't just come here to bless us with this Pinterest knowledge, but you perhaps have a resource, or is there something that people can connect with you on and get started themselves to help them go? Where can they find you? Where can they connect with you?
Yeah, so I have what I call my Pinterest Profit Builder. So this is a free resource, and it is a Lux checklist. So it's going to help you know the step-by-step process of my what I call my baddie framework, because I'm a Pinterest badass. So you can get all the steps that it takes to go from take Pinterest from Pinterest to profit. So that is definitely something that we will make sure that it's linked to. And then I am Presh Rodgers, so Presh. I'm like, how do I spell my name? Preshrodgers, across all platforms. So that is Pinterest, Instagram, as well as TikTok.
Great, great. Well, we'll have all of those links in the show note. Precious, thank you so much for coming on and again helping us wrap our minds around Pinterest. For those of you who are experts, thank you for bearing with us. Okay. But yes, thank you again, Precious. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, great. I'll see you online.